Hi everyone, you can tell I've run out of content when I'm doing a portfolio reveal. This doesn't help or teach you anything except that you should buy and hold for the long term and maybe avoid some penny stocks and speculative stocks. Since you'll see some of my losses, maybe I should sit here so I can actually show the portfolio. Here, we'll see how this works. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in learning about stocks, tax, real estate, maybe just investing in general. I'll give you the stats up front. You know what, first I should say, nothing you see is real. This is all for entertainment purposes. Do not copy this. This is not real. I'll give you some of the stats up front. The total Canadian value is rounded to around 2.2 million, which has taken me around 15 years to build. I've deposited around 486,000 and I've withdrawn around 700,000. Every few years, I try to buy more real estate. Half of everything I'm showing you is from November statements. I don't understand why Questrade takes so long to produce statements, but the December statements aren't ready yet. So anyway, half of this from November. The other half is gone now since I'm trying to buy real estate in the US, mainly to be a snowbird and maybe for a retirement plan, but I haven't thought that far yet. If I'm healthy when I'm retired, then I'll be in the US. If I'm not healthy, then I'll be in Canada for the healthcare. For the first 8 years, I was investing mainly in dividend stocks and selling covered calls. And then maybe 5-6 years ago, I tried to go 100% into options since I was able to make more. The dividends were too slow and the income was pretty low when I compared it to the market. I guess for what I was doing, I wanted to make a lot more than the market. I was aiming for 18 to 20% a year. From December 20th to December 2021, I was able to go from 440,000 in my margin and TFSA only to 633,000, so around a 50% increase. Then from December 2021 to August 2022, I went from 633,000 to 1.4 million. I have these horrible snippets. Whenever I hit a new milestone, I would just take a screenshot and send it to my friends. Just to showboat, I don't know, or just maybe to enjoy together because we were all trading options. The massive jumps were from options, either from selling puts or spreads, but the biggest jump was from shorting the market. The last 18 months, however, I haven't been doing an option since the market has been shooting up. The calls kept getting breached and I couldn't really beat the market. I didn't really know what to do. When it's increasing 25% a year, I'm not able to beat or match that, so I'm able to make 20% a year. But when the market's doing this, I've just been holding stocks and kind of watching and waiting, doing covered calls, but not on the S&P 500. I'll spend a few minutes now breaking down some of the good and bad investments. This is my margin account. This is around 1 million Canadian dollars. I was trying to speculate and buy Organic Garage in hopes of them getting bought out, but it never worked out. I don't even know if I can sell these since the market price is zero. So I think they've gone out of market. I don't know why it's still here. Apple, I've had Apple for 10 years and I think I've been selling monthly covered calls. Like I've been so successful with the strategy that my cost basis is definitely zero. I'm up over 215% on Apple. SPY, I believe these were from selling puts and I got assigned. I ended up not having enough cash. I had 15 puts and I sold down to 900. I'm up over 57%. Just on the last 2 years on SPY. And also there's one stock here that I've hidden because I wasn't supposed to own it at the time, so it's hidden. Up next is my TFSA. My peak TFSA account was around 540,000 before I started selling and moving stuff to the US. Right now it's around 328,000 Canadian dollars. VFV is the Canadian version of the S&P 500. I wasn't selling options on this, hence the random quantity I own. I like to do everything in hundreds usually. I was just using this to be more in ETFs and the overall market. You can probably tell in the next few snippets that I'm too deep into individual stocks, maybe just because I have more fun. Again, Apple shares, I was selling covered calls on this for 10 years. I did a poor man's covered call as well, so I'm up 235% on these. Palantir, I'm up over 443%, but it's funny, if I did this video 6 months ago, I'd probably be down 50% on these. I was selling puts until I got assigned, and then I was selling covered calls, and I ended up stopped selling calls because they kept getting breached and I didn't want to lose the share, so I just took a loss on some of the calls. I have 3 RRSP accounts, one with my company, one with Wealthsimple, and one with Questrade, which I've never shown before, but it's currently around $590,000. I try to be super passive with this. I don't want to do options and potentially ruin my retirement. This could have been much higher, but I made a bunch of mistakes when I was younger. I was taking too much risk with my retirement account, so it could have been higher than it is now. 1,000 shares of Air Canada. I've been, selling 10 covered calls. This is currently at a 7% loss, which is frustrating because I've had this for a few years. I'm sure my cost basis is a lot lower than what it's showing you here, but I just take that as the income. CMC was pure speculation since it was a penny stock. I thought I could throw a few thousand and hope it does well. It's been years and it hasn't moved, so this was a mistake. VFV, again, I want to be more involved in the S&P 500. I'm up more than 92%, which is great, just good timing on when I bought in. Amazon, Google, and Meta, I was selling monthly covered calls on all this, but they hit a point when they were just shooting up like too fast past my strike price, and I didn't want to lose a share, so I stopped. I'm up 100%, 77%, and 118% on these three. You can tell I'm deep into tech and maybe just too deep into 5 or 6 stocks. QuantumScape, Open, and SoFi were spec purchases. I did the research. They sounded good at the time. I thought maybe they could be companies that could be big in the future. I'm currently down 80%, 85%, and then I'm up 113% on SoFi. Again, if I filmed this 6 months ago, I think I'd be down 50% on SoFi. Lastly, Tesla. If you've been watching this channel, I've been bullish on Tesla since 2015. I'm up over 840% on these, mainly through calls. I used to sell covered calls, but the stock kept splitting and increasing, and sometimes I'd lose my shares because they'd go up too much. I ended up buying them back at a different price, and it's been a roller coaster. If you look at Tesla just a year ago, I think I only would have been up 400%, but they've recently increased instead of this 800% increase. So it's just timing on when I'm filming this. Again, the total of everything I've just shown you, I think it's around 2.1 million in Canadian dollars, and I have around another $80,000 in a Wealthsimple RSP. I make quarterly videos on my progress, and I compare the Wealthsimple robo-advisors to the overall market to see if it's worth it. So far, it hasn't been doing as well as the market. It's doing well, it's going up, but it's not matching the market. But I have $80,000 in Wealthsimple. That's good for beginner investors if you're interested. A lot of this is purely market returns. In 2023, SPY went up 24%. And then in 2024, I think it was another 24 or 25%. So just buying and holding in the last 2 years would have made you another, I think, 50%. Like also, if I probably could have had 2.8 or $3 million if I just held and stopped trying to beat the market. I never would have predicted these types of increases 2 years in a row. It's not something that I've experienced since I've been trading since 2010. But this is why I kept trying to trade options. There was one point where I ended up losing 130,000 USD on NVIDIA call spreads. Purely my mistake and my ego. I thought I could save it. I've managed to save every other trade I've made except NVIDIA, and now I learned my lesson. I stopped doing that. But I'm not, I guess that's the end of the video. I'm not sure what the viewers will get out of this. It's obviously not easy to replicate since I've had 2 jobs for the last 15 years and even many more sources of income. I don't think revealing this does you any good. It's probably just an ego play, maybe just for some content, which I don't like. I don't like revealing this stuff. It doesn't help you in any way. Like I want to do things or show you things that people can replicate. I did a video revealing my 10 sources of income a few years ago. You can get an idea if you want, but half of them are from the YouTube channel or what comes from it. So unless you have a YouTube channel, I don't know how you can get 10 sources of income, but I think the normal person can get 4 or 5 to try to build this. Another question, I'm trying to think of what questions people might ask is hey, why don't you retire and live off dividends forever if you have 2 million or even 3? But I don't think I'm the retire type. I like busy. I like being busy. I like moving. I don't think I'll ever fully retire. I'll probably go part-time when I'm 55, but assuming I haven't blown up my account or, assuming I'm still healthy, but we'll see what the future holds. I'm not too sure. I hope this helps. There's a lot of rambling. Thanks for watching and tune in to the next one.